November of 2023 is when I was in this garage with my fingers all wrapped up, and I decided to build an old school car audio system in a 2008 Jeep. Now, it is my fault that I decided to build a full audio system solely based around one component that is honestly old enough to go to the bar with me and have a drink. This ADS 308RS was in that spare tire well enclosure and playing really, really well for about a day. Sadly, the minute I put some real world music to it and power to it, one of the voice coils let loose. Without having a plan B, I went ahead and disconnected the bad voice coil, ran one voice coil on a dual voice coil woofer, which worked, but it was like you took off one of your shoes and went for a walk. You guys remember this is the enclosure that I built to fit in the spare tire well. It's sealed, it's 3/4 of a cubic foot, and it was perfect for that ADS woofer. Now, I went online to try and find a couple options that that would have been a good plan B for this woofer. However, I couldn't find anything that I really wanted to spend the money on. Then I found this. It was on Marketplace. It was cheap enough for me to just gamble with it, and let me tell you, it's awful, and it is not going to be the new sub we're going to be using in this car. However, it does fit in the box, and it does kind of work with the enclosure that I built, but I don't know. It's a mobabator. I don't know. All I know is I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Hans and Franz guys from SNL every time I see it. It's the Mobbentator. This, my friends, is why I'm mad. I've designed multiple different enclosures for a couple different cars for a speaker that blew up. So I didn't know what I was going to do until this got served up to me on Facebook Marketplace. This is a single 10-inch JL sub. It was cheap, it was local, and brand new in the box. Bigger problem was the fact that the box I built isn't going to work for a 10-inch sub. So I built a new one. I've got well over 2 years invested in trying to get an audio system done on one of my dailies. My ADD is mostly to blame. If you remember, I started with the Jeep, bought a Honda, fixed the Honda, went back to the Jeep, had to fix the Jeep, bought a Corvette, sold the Jeep, switched everything to the Honda, and did all the nice side projects along the way. Please stick around because today's the video is going to be all about getting this Honda build completed. Well, I would love to tell you guys that this is a continuation of the first day and the first part of this video, but in actuality, we're about 7 or 8 weeks into the future. My new enclosure is built and installed, and honestly, it was a lot easier to build a new enclosure than try and modify the 8-inch enclosure to work with a JL 10-inch woofer. Now, in actuality, guys, this is the second enclosure that I built for this JL woofer. First one, really nice. I'll post a picture of it so I could show you guys. It had some detail work to it. It was vinyl, but it was a tremendous failure. And I tried to pull it apart to put some polyfill in it, and I ended up cracking this ring, and I tried to glue it back together, and it just didn't work really well. The other thing that I kind of made a decision on, and as much as I like this, it's not designed to work with a 10-inch woofer. It's designed to work with an 8-inch woofer. Plus, it developed some mysterious mystery crack, so kind of told me not to use this. Plus, now if I look at it, I got this basket exposed, and I really didn't know what to do. Part of doing some custom work like this is problem solving, really. And obviously, I did not want to throw this woofer away just because my dumbass cracked the trim ring that went around there. So I didn't know really what to do. This enclosure is stuffed with polyfill. It is built to the exact specifications JL recommends. It's centered up just like the other one with the laser level. And honestly, it sounds incredible. Now that I have this basket exposed, I went ahead and found one of these JL grills. And I'm like, you know what? I really like that. Plus, on top of it, when I throw stuff back here, or my wife throws stuff back here, and my golf clubs, that is going to work out really, really well. And it'll protect it. Now, I made a ring, this kind of ring. It's basically just a ring. Made it with my router to go over that right there. And then once you put the grill on top of there, kind of finishes that off a little bit. Maybe I'll wrap that in vinyl or carpet or whatever the case may be. But let me show you the other thing that I've been working on. And honestly, I have been working. The grill is pretty much flush with this. I've got this ring here to give myself a little detail work so I can kind of mold it. I'm gonna come around with this round over and soften that edge up. If you remember when I made this trim ring in one of my last videos to go with this to go around the amplifier. So that's how that's going to work, and I'm really kind of digging how this whole thing turning out. Now, this beauty panel is ready for some filler work because I'm going to do some filler work over here. I will do some filler work for this seam to fill that in, and then I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill some stuff up around here. So in today's video, I want to figure out how we're going to finish the rest of this trunk. If you can see, I've got a little void there, and you know, this panel was a little too big to build in one piece, so I broke it up into two separate ones. That's why I got a seam in the middle. And in one of my previous videos, I was going to build the sub enclosure in the corner, and I showed you guys how I used to get that shape going around the inside of this panel. And listen, I don't have any 3D printers. I don't have any scanners. I don't have any of that junk. And realistically, if you're going to call yourself a fabricator using something like 3D printing, I mean, I know it's the future, but whatever. You're a fabricator. Use your digits. Build something. Grab a tape measure. Anyway, the best way I have done to get this internal shape is grabbing some cardboard and just lining it up. And if you remember, when I built this, that gives a good way to go ahead and do it. Now, obviously, you got to clean up the edges a little bit, but cardboard, hot glue, and a scissors, you know, really, I got this shape, and I've got it really well. And the plan is to do some carpet in this area, have it transition into the vinyl all the way, and then do a carpet transition in the backside. I'm planning on kind of cutting this back at maybe 1.75 inches, 2 inches. I don't know. I got to play with some measurements. I'd like to run a strip of MDF with the same kind of router as this trim ring that I can kind of use to mold into here, and you know, have this whole panel vinyled and dropped in. Now's a good time to show you that I rebuilt the fab table for the 475th time. My old rigid table saw died. So, no, not a rigid table saw. My old Delta table saw died. So, bought this rigid. Way better saw, a lot nicer. Got a new mount for the router station. And I worked with some dust collection. And that little piece right there, found it on that Rainforest website. That's kind of cool. It will sense when you turn your router table on or your table saw on, and it'll turn the vacuum on. And then when it sees that you turned it off, it'll turn it off too, which is cool. The other side project I did is I built those guys. I wanted some speakers out here, and was going to buy a sound bar. I decided not to. Ended up putting a Pioneer doubled in, hooked up with it. And, hey, remember that? I got my 45-degree chamfer bit loaded up in the router to give these side pieces the same kind of shape as the other one. I've got them double-sided taped to this other piece that make it a little easier for me to run through the saw. Well, the router. Dust collection works great, by the way. I just walked in front of the camera, but I made a couple design changes, and I wanted to keep you guys up to date. You know, I worked 8 weeks without without showing you guys a thing, but now I want to keep you up to date. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but my straight from China 2-car garage hat that I bought. So I had these originally cut at 1.75 inches, and then when I put them up there, they seemed a little too big, too bulky. So I cut them down to 1.5 inches, which I like that a lot better. The other thing too is it gave me a really nice lip on this side for that other panel to sit on. So I'm happy about that. So this is how I got myself into problems the last time and not showing you guys exactly what's going on. I get in a groove and I start working and I create and I build, and it's not helping for producing videos. But this thing's all set and ready to go. I modified the measurements that I got. So here we're going to do 11 and 10 and 11 sixteenths, and over here we're doing 9 and 7 sixteenths on the edges. I went ahead and move the camera here. I went ahead and got one board 11 or 10 and 11 sixteenths, excuse me. Put my template up here, and we're going to jigsaw this out and kind of rough cut it. I'll probably true it up with the router just to make it nicey nice. And yeah, seems like it's going to work out really, really well. And my as my wife calls them, the little, where are they? The little avocados up there in the corners. Yeah, killer. And rocking out to some Luke Combs live, which yeah, he's pretty good. Honda's back in the garage. Passenger side panel is in and done. It looks pretty good. I'll show you guys what that looks like in a minute. I did find an old shoebox and cut up some cardboard strips. Pretty big, pretty small. And what I was talking about is this. So, you know, you go ahead and lay these guys around. Where's my scissors? There it is. And when you're fitting these guys in here, if you need to work on the angles, if you got to work on the corners getting rounded off, and then you just kind of lay this stuff in here to get the actual shape that you need. And then you could use CA glue, you could use hot glue, you know, really glues. You could use anything to lock this stuff into place. And partially, you know, I've seen guys use like strips of wood to do this. I've seen guys use I don't know, lost my train of thought there, guys. I'm sorry. So as you can see, the way this comes around gives you a good idea of the outbound shape. Now, one of the things that I will definitely do is add some additional supports on this guy before I start pulling it all apart to lock this thing into place. Because the last thing you need to do is start cutting a panel, start cutting wood, and not have the actual shape you need. All right. Now, this is still going to be a little bit flimsy, but you can take it out. And one of the things I always do is I'll put some CA glue on the backside or hot glue on the backside just to make sure this thing stays into place. And there you go. So I have an old phone on a tripod with this kind of selfie stick funny thing going, but it died. So I'm going to give you guys an update on my phone because I got to call it for today. But I think that looks pretty cool. And if you remember, sorry, I'm trying to do this while holding my hand. That's going to be carpet, that's going to be vinyl, and that is going to be carpet as well. I got some shims in there to simulate the 1/8-inch gap for material. I didn't like how these curves went because it goes up over the wheel well. So I ended up grabbing some filler, throwing some tape on there, and I'm letting that stuff set up before I can take it out. But that's the direction, boys and girls. I roughly had a couple hours to get some of this bodywork roughed in, and you can see how much nicer that corner looks. This corner looks really good too. Probably going to throw a little bit more filler in there. I've got corners up top here that obviously I got to do some stuff, but I kind of did that on purpose because if I make a little triangle to go up in that area, I could use that to lock these side panels in place. There's the sub and how I got it molded up here. And one of the things that I did is I went ahead and took a filler spreader and I cut it so I could have the same radius on every one of these. Now, one of the things that I got going on is I'm not 100% sure on this this ring. I think if I start molding that ring in, it's going to take away from the sides and the sub. I don't know, but I'm digging this. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out and sticking around. I'm going to call it for this video, but I will get all that sanding and bodywork finished by the time I start filming the next video, and we'll get ready to start vinyling and wrapping this thing with carpet. And I got some ideas for lighting, so I will share that with you guys too. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and everybody say hello to the Corvette. And you guys can see, let's see, right there, I have been gathering some stuff for a full audio build on the Corvette. So stick around, stay tuned, and thanks for watching.